Good morning, everybody. I am sorry for being late. I am the only person who has not gone into the portal, apparently. You guys haven't gone into the portal yet either. Damn it, man. We got a lot more to discuss. A lot more to discuss. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. I'm sorry for being a little bit late. Middle school drop off. You know how it is. Unc needs to do better. I need to put my son in the portal. That's what I need to do. His slow ass in the morning. We have a lot of things to get into, y'all. So let's just hop in and I'll make it up for y'all. I'm in a good mood / bad mood, so it should be an entertaining show for everybody. So, um, the last time I was here and I was live, okay. For those of you who watch the show pretty continuously and religiously, um, I told everybody kind of midway through the show. I said, somewhat prophetically, unfortunately, I see you, ATX Banks. I said, hey, hard conversations are being had behind the scenes. I said that there's guys looking at going into the portal, and do not be surprised if there's more attrition and more guys going into the portal. I told you guys that on Wednesday, and I feel like 30 minutes after I was done with the show, I feel like the Bo Barnes things hit, right? And good morning to all y'all in the chat. But I feel like the Bo Barnes things hit. And then we're just going down the list of guys that it's just effing wild. Vacation this weekend, I can't. There's nobody. Everybody's jumping in the portal. We'll get into it. Because I think I'm beyond the point of trying to sugarcoat this BS that's going on, and then we just got to have real talks. And so we have. Let me see this graphic. I think boy Tyler loaded it in here. He has to update this damn thing twice a day. I'm getting so frustrated right now. I'm so frustrated right now. There's an Oklahoma fan just laughing their ass off right now. And so we have guys decide that they're going to go in the portal, and the Bo Barnes thing. We're waiting to see what happens with that. But there's a Bo Barnes conversation that we need to have as relates to him. And just this morning, just when you think it's safe to go back in the water, just when you think, all right, maybe today's a good day. Today will be a good day. What do? We wake up. Oh, well, I guess Kobe Black has decided he's going to enter the portal too. Why not? Why not? Why not? Kobe Black decided he's going to go to the portal. Yesterday, Zena was announcing that he was going to go into the portal. I know that there's conversations that are being had as relates to maybe Zena maybe coming back, maybe Bo Barnes trying to come back. These are probably conversations that should have been had on the front end. But it's unfortunately playing out in a way that I unfortunately warned us about on Wednesday, and it continues to happen. Okay, so what's going on? What the hell is the deal right now at Texas? And should you be worried? Yeah, I'm going to put should you be worried. I'm going to write that down so I'll answer that as well. What the hell is going on? Okay. This is it. It is just Texas having conversations with guys who they're telling, this is your price. There's two things at play. Okay, there's two things at play. The first thing is money. Let's start with the money thing, because you always got to follow the money. Okay, so the first thing is conversations have been had as relates to This is how much we're willing to pay you. This is how much, Jack Crumb, you're worth in our mind. Tex Blonde, this is what you're worth, right? Horns dog, like this is what you're worth, right? This is Rodolfo, which none of us would pay Rodolfo a damn thing except haterade coupons. Money beat. This is what you're worth. And what's happening is, so for some of these guys, they're saying, I don't know about this. Because what happened is, in 2025 season, everybody's eating good, everybody's doing good, and them checks are coming in. And guys are feeling good about themselves. And then what happens is we get to the off season, and there's a part of it where Texas is trying to correct the market. But Texas is not the only program that has guys jumping in the portal, so we're clear, okay? There's other programs that are going through this as well. So it's not just a UT thing. And what's happening now is that you have all these guys have agents, right? So I tell Tex Blonde, hey, I know you was earning $700 last season. We only think you're a $500,000 guy, which, by the way, is not bad, right? 500,000 woman. Okay, excuse me, the Tex Blonde. No disrespect. I used the woman with a male analogy, and it just messed up. So no disrespect there, Tex Blonde. So, and then here's what happens. So Tex Blonde's agent says, that's how much UT is offering you? Let me call around for a little bit. And then they start making calls. And then they have another program that says, oh, well, Texas is going to offer you this. Well, guess what? We'll offer you a little bit more than that. And they said, okay, cool. And so guess what? I'm going in the portal. It would be like anybody who your job, we've all worked at jobs, right? Where you ever have worked at a job where they've had like furloughs or something, right? And, I worked at a job where they had furloughs and they still wanted you to work on your off day. Craziest thing, illegal as hell, Tampa Tribune, but you're no longer in existence. So you can't sue me and I can't sue you. But that happened. And so you have that portion of it. There's a second portion that's happening, though. And there's the good and the bad of this transfer portal. And it might be the thing that Sark may end up correcting and never doing again. Because you also have young players who have heard their coach say, we're going to bring in guys at your position in the transfer portal. So now, and Jamie French is another one of those guys too, right? And now, I forgot to mention Jamie French. And now you have guys, so many, can't keep up. It's like the damn NASDAQ, but it just seems like it's going down. But now you have guys who are young, who are saying, well, I can't get on the field here. I'm not going to get an opportunity to play here. So if I'm here and you're just going to bring in guys and recruit over me, then why should I stay around? I still ultimately want to play. So you have some guys that are leaving because of pay, and you have some guys who are leaving because of play. The thing that Sark did, which we all appreciated his honesty and transparency, and I'm not blaming Sark, by the way, but we all appreciate his honesty and transparency when he started saying, hey, in the portal, I'm going to go after offensive linemen. I'm going to go after linebackers. I'm going to go after, like he went down the list of guys that he was going to go into. But the flip side of that was that guys heard that, some guys, and they said, well, shoot, looks like 2026 going to be like 2025. I don't want to sit here and not play. So some of those guys are also looking for opportunities to play somewhere else. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on. Now, I'll say it. There is, I was weighing it. It is what it is. I don't care. I speak to y'all. I can't worry about what the people behind the building think. I just got to keep it real. I just got to be myself. There is an argument to be made that there could have been maybe a better smoothing over of these changes or things that are happening beforehand on the front end before it's reactionary, proactive versus reactive, right? And so, good morning to you. And so, for instance, I'll give you the Bo Barnes example. So, Bo Barnes finds out that he's got to take a pay cut. And now, look, if you're taking a pay cut and someone offers you a pay cut of 150,000 or 200,000, right? In your mind, think about that's what an extra, 15 to 20,000 a month that you're not getting. Especially let's do a 10-month contract or at 200. Yeah, so 200. Let's just do the math easy. So that's like 20 G's a month that you were used to getting that someone's telling you ain't gonna get anymore, right? And so there's a part of you that's like, that hurts. I don't know if I like that. And so that happens. But the thing is, in Bo Barnes' case, now they tell him, hey, the money's got to come off the books. And then he's like, well, I'm gonna go in the portal. And then you have Will Muschamp trying to convince him to stay and trying to sell Bo Barnes on development, how you can blossom here, just stay here, be patient. But I would argue that conversation should have happened beforehand. The conversation should have been, hey, guess what? Need to talk. Let's have a real talk. This is where you are. This is where you're at. Blah, 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 blah. But this is our plan. This is our plan for you in 2026 for you to see the field. And listen, so on. So there's a way to smooth it. There's a way to smooth it over. I don't believe that Texas has done a good enough job of smoothing things over with guys on the front end to prevent things from happening on the back end. Now, look, most of the premier guys, they're Arch is fine, Goosby's fine, Colin Simmons is fine, right? If you go to the big name dudes, those dudes are okay. Like those dudes ain't tripping, right? All those dudes are in they're lost in downtown Austin or down on close to campus, and those guys are absolutely living their best life. They're fine, but it's everybody else, right? It's there's only a certain amount of billionaires in the world, right? And it's just like the rest of us, right? It's like a small group. Like those guys are taken care of. Those guys are fine. But then there's everybody else who is the middle class to lower middle class, right? And I say this only as an analogy because anyone who's making $200,000 a year is not broke, as we would know and we can testify to. So, but the thing is that there wasn't, I don't believe there has been enough preventative things. Because now you got guys, I have a lot to discuss. You got guys who it's catching people off guard that these guys are leaving. And I have to keep it a buck with you. It shouldn't be catching you off guard. If you are great at your job, right? every once in a while, some of you people are managers, right? Some of you people are managers at your job, been a manager before. You every once in a while, someone comes into the office and it surprises you, right? But maybe it's for um different reasons. It's because, hey, I know I work here. Such and such contacted me. They're offering me that much more, and you're like, oh my god, like that's amazing. I appreciate that. You have to take that, right? But some of this is just catching got this some of this the staff off guard, like, oh snap, I can't believe that happened. And it makes me question, should some of these conversations been had beforehand, and should it be catching you off guard? Because attrition is expected in the transfer portal, right? But we're getting to the point of attrition where you're going to have to bring in guys to replace the guys who left, and those guys may not be as good as the guys who already left. And now, if you're only willing to pay X for the position, well, the guys you're bringing in, you're bringing in guys who will get a pay bump from another program? Are they better than the guys who have left, though? And so there is, look, the deadline is what, next Friday? Is next Friday the 16th? Am I correct on that? Let me look at my phone real quick. And I see a super chat. So the deadline for people to enter their names into the portal is the 16th. That's not the deadline to come out of the portal, so we're clear. Just want to make sure everyone understands that. This is the deadline to get your name in. You can put your name in on the 16th and come out a week later, 2 weeks later, months later. You remember I can't remember the guy's name. There was a running back who Texas signed right before the season. But it was like 2 seasons ago. He ended up having like an eye injury and stuff, and really didn't play much. But in any case, and I don't remember this young man's name. In any case, he went in the portal like months ago, months prior to Texas calling him back in August, right? So that's the whole different thing. But what we don't know, but what I do know, there's going to be more people who go into the portal. So we're clear. Jeff Ketchum has heard that number might be around 6 to 8 or so. It could be, I don't know. I don't know when it stops, quite honest with you. I wish I could sit here and tell you I know what that final number looks like. I know guys who I heard were going to jump in the portal haven't done it yet. And this is Felton Gardner. Thank you, Chris Bennett. You're the man. All right, ATX Bates. He says players are figuring out that they have leverage and they are exercising it. No problem with the first sentence. Normal folks have a portal too. It's called LinkedIn. Does anybody get hired off of LinkedIn, by the way? Has there any of you guys been hired off of LinkedIn? It's interesting because you look at LinkedIn and you'll see like 100 people apply for a job or 200 people apply for a job. Does anybody actually get hired off of that website? Or is it just like a this bucket of resumes? I don't know. I'm just kind of curious. He goes, you're going to bounce too if you got a 25% pay cut. It's a professional world. 100%. And not only is it now ATX Bates, not only what you're saying is correct, if you have to take a pay cut, it is, but if you're taking a pay cut and then guys are coming in who are getting paid more than you and they get to play, then you're like, well, what the hell am I doing? I mean, and it's the gift and the curse of the 2025 class and some of these top classes that Texas has had, because Texas has had to pay top dollar to get a lot of these elite guys. But when you pay top dollar to get it, it's like anything. It's like the dating example. What you do to get somebody is the things you have to do to keep them, right? You can't start off buying her flowers every other week and then 6 months to a year later, you stop doing that, right? You the things you do to get them, the things you got to do to keep them, right? And so that's the thing. Texas did a lot to get these guys, but you have to do the same to keep them. And what they're learning, the lesson, hard lesson at this point, is that you remember I always joke, Uncle's really good at acquisitions and not really good at retention. What Texas is struggling right now for the first time is the retention department. How do we keep these guys? And right now, there's not enough answers. There's not enough answers. And again, there's a second component of it, which is guys, at the end of the day, they want to get paid, but they still want to play. And so it's the danger of the portal. But again, it's not. So we're clear, it's not just a Texas thing. It's not just a Texas thing. There's a lot of guys, a lot of programs. Georgia has got guys going in the portal. Alabama's got guys going in the portal. Ohio State. This is not. I would love. It would be easy. I won't say I love. It would be easy to sit here and say this is UT and UT alone. No, this is happening in college football where what ATX Bates says, guys are leveraging their NIL value, and they're not just going to sit back and say, well, I'll just be happy to be here. I ain't happy to be here. This is business, year-to-year business, by the way. And so because it's a business, guys, this is why, y'all, I want to tell y'all this, some real, all right, if you got me in a car, kids are around, mute me for a second. If you on at the job and you got me blasting, just mute me for like the next 10 seconds and you're pre-warned. Let me give you some real shit right now. Going forward, none of y'all, I'm talking about not a nary one of y'all, don't you buy this whole culture conversation anymore. Don't you buy they grew up being a Longhorn fan and they always wanted to play for that. Don't you buy any of that. You enjoy them while they're here. You enjoy their contributions, but understand at the end of the day, they're making business decisions. There's a reason why Parker Livingstone could talk about UT, and then when he feels like, oh, really? Well, then guess what? I'm anti-UT, right? And you feel like, damn, he just bamboozled me. All these guys, culture guys. That's all we heard about. UT culture. Well, you know what? CJ Baxter was a culture guy. Parker Livingstone was supposed to be a culture guy. DeAndre Moore, he was a culture guy. Leona LaFau, he was supposed to be a culture guy. These are all the guys who got to speak to the media, right? You know all about these guys. You saw them speak all the time. Trey Wisner. I hope I forgot to mention him. He spoke to the media all the time. These were supposed to be guys who are all about the culture. But guess what? This culture don't matter in this business world. There's no loyalty anymore on either side. There's a Chris Brown. And I'll just say these football players ain't loyal. I won't go that bad. All right, hold on. As the super chats come in, got much more to discuss. In my opinion, Texas should require 2-year deals for high school recruits. The ROI on true freshmen is almost zero. Yes. Even if Texas has to pay more for a 2-year deal, it's better than eating the dead money on the bench. Yes. I could not say it better. Because you got, not only you have dead, I'm okay with dead money at the quarterback position. Quarterback position makes sense. It takes time. So KJ Lacey, that's dead money. Diabell, he'll come in this year. So KJ Lacey will be dead money 2026. Diabell, dead money 2026. Totally makes sense, right? Because it's a quarterback. But all these other things, it sounds good, But at the end of the day, you've got guys who, okay, I cool, I got my money, I'm straight, cool. Okay, well, am I gonna play? Oh, wait. You say I'm not ready. And for some of these guys, it's like credit. In the tough part about credit when you're starting out, right? The tough part is you try to get a credit card or you try to get credit somewhere, right? And what do they say? Well, you can't get credit because you don't have any credit. And then you say, all right, well then just give me credit. And they're like, yeah, but you don't have any credit. And you're like, yeah, but the only way for me to get credit is for you to give me a line of credit. And they're like, yeah, but you don't have a line of credit. Right? And that's some of these kids right now. They're looking at it and say, okay, but you're young and inexperienced. And they say, okay, yeah, but just let me play and I won't be inexperienced. They're like, yeah, but you're inexperienced. They're like, yeah, but the only way for me to get experience is for you to give me experience. They're like, yeah, but you're inexperienced. Right? It's the same thing. It's the same credit thing that we're talking about, right? That's that part of it's happening. So Texas has to really start thinking and evaluating, hey, the guys that you're recruiting. I'm not saying you don't go after 5 stars. I'm not saying you don't do that. I'm not saying you don't do that. Question is, how many do you go after? And the question is, what are you willing to pay? And how much are you willing to say, we're okay if we pay you this, but we don't get productivity after going into after 2 years, not 1 or 3 years. Like, you almost have to make the investment saying, we know whatever we're willing to pay, it's an investment, right? And some of y'all got investments, right? And whether it's your 401k or your gold or your silver or your crypto or whatever it is, real estate, and you understand, okay, the payoff may not be instant unless you're into something different, right? But some of you guys may flip houses, or you guys may be day traders or something to that effect. And that's a little bit more instant. But for something else, let's say it's real estate, right? All of us probably have some sort of stake in some sort of real estate, whether you own a home, property, land, whatever. We understand that, okay, the payoff may not be right away. The payoff might come a few years later, right? For many of us, it's 10, 15, whatever that case may be. Texas has got to decide, hey, realistically, if you want to retain some of these guys, the payoff is got to be, you got to wait a few years. If you're not willing to commit that money for a few years into this particular person until they develop, then you just got to let it be. Right? And that there is that. What up, Top? Top's been on top of things too. Top been working behind the scenes. Y'all want to know what's going on behind the scenes? Listen. If y'all want to know what's going on behind the scenes, if I was y'all right now, over the next 5 to 10 minutes, I would ask Top all the questions that you want to ask in the chat. If there's anybody who's plugged in, who's got his ears on the ground, Top does. If I was you, I'd pick his brain. And Top, I don't know if you're going to be doing one of those, what are they calling on X? Like Spaces, I think is what it's called. I know I've seen you do it. I know Tex Blonde has been on some. I think it's called Spaces. I don't know. I've never done one of those things. I like to listen, but I don't really like to talk. I like you guys to have like your own thing. And this is what I do here. I don't like to invade y'all space. I like to listen to hear what y'all say. In any case, Top does one of those things. Whatever that thing is called, y'all should listen in. You should do one today, Top. I think it'd be really good. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Here we go. ATX Space came out. Spaces. Yeah, that's what it's called. It's called Spaces. I've heard Tex Blonde on the space. I don't know if she's done one lately. And then I've heard Top on the space. Let me just warn you though. Top spaces are slightly urban. Slightly urban spaces. I'm just gonna let you know that it gets a little urban. I was listening to one of those spaces. I'm like, oh damn. I'm like, what's going on? Cats was wanting to go at each other. I was like, oh, this is great. I was listening to it. I was listening. I was like, oh, these cats are into it. It's like a barbershop. It's like an old school barbershop. Anyway, we rarely buy the culture when job hunting. We buy, I got bills and a mortgage. The culture comes after the money is right. We hope the culture fits. Culture is interesting because Sark always talked about how he didn't want to bring in a bunch of guys in the transfer portal because he was so worried about his culture. And at this point, he's got no choice. And you can talk about how strong culture is, right? But culture doesn't matter when we're having like financial conversations. Ain't nobody care about culture. You know what that's like. Y'all work at jobs, right? And you ever have at your job like they have somebody from HR and they have like these new initiatives, and so they start hanging up like posters in the break room, right? And they start talking about, and they come with these acronyms like team, like together everyone achieves more, right? It's like, oh, look at our culture here at our job, right? We're a team, together everyone achieves more, right? And they come with these acronyms for stuff, right? And they'd have these meetings and like, this year we're going to do such and such, and so this is the year of whatever, right? And then you're like, man, and they're like, hey, you know what? Well, we're going to have furloughs this year, and we're going to have layoffs. You're like, I don't care about this culture. It's like that, right? Or you working it forever, you're like, I can't get promoted. Anyway, so there's that. There's that part. There's some positives to discuss, but let me get to this. I'm sorry. I needed to vent. I needed to vent. Let's see. Janez one. Am I saying that right? I sometimes butcher names in the way that I think it should be. Unless it's Spanish, and then it'll be like Anez. Is it Anez? Did I get it right? Did I? Because hey, let me know if I got it right. Anyway, I don't know. It's either Janez or Anez. It's either one of the two. Or it's none of them, and I just don't know what the hell I'm saying, which is also possible. We're teaching the players all the wrong values. We are teaching them to chase money to the detriment of loyalty, patience, friendships, lifelong connections, learning to grow on and off the field. To that, I have to 100% say I do not agree. Why? Why do I not agree with that? Because coaches do it all the time. Lane Kiffin, we all watched the playoff game last night. Where was loyalty, patience, friendships, lifelong connections when it came to Lane Kiffin? I'm not going to hold players to a higher standard than these coaches. These coaches ain't loyal. These coaches ain't patient. These coaches ain't talking about lifetime, long time, anything. Lane Kiffin literally had developed a playoff team, and left to go to another program to create a playoff team, or he left because he was getting paid. You get what I'm saying? It's not about teaching them. I can't hold the players more accountable than I do the coaches. And the coaches have been the ones for years throughout, if you just go back, it's kind of like the soapbox things for me. This is the same coaches who used to get commitments from guys and then quit the day after signing day. Right. And this is before guys can go into the portal. They got, and then guys would be stuck and then having choices. Right. So this is just sports. It's sports. It's the ugly side of it. What you're not used to is the players having power and leverage. But what they say, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. And right now, those players, they got the gun. Hope YouTube doesn't ban me for that. I hope it'll get a strike or something for that. So that's my thing. What we're having to get used to is a world where before it used to be players got to do what coaches got to do whatever they want to, and players just had to go along with it. And now players are like, we don't got to go along with nothing. You don't pay me, I'm out. You don't play me, I'm out. I don't like you, I'm out. And that's the world that we have to get used to, is that players are making business decisions the same way that coaches are making business decisions. All right, let's see what Tracy has. Tracy, I love Tracy. Sometimes Tracy is off topic, but I'm going to see what Tracy has to say. Tracy's my dude. I love T. Sometimes I don't know where he's going. All right, let me see. I'm reading this in real time. Let me see what T says. Your thoughts on the days of teams building more effective teams through the portal, versus high school recruiting. Okay, T's on topic. T's like, bro, I ain't gonna give you $10 no more if you keep talking about me. No, T, today's payday. Please do. Example, look at the Final Four teams with the amount of portal guys on the teams that are starters. T, I'm just messing with you, dog. I'm just messing with you. I mean, these are real conversations that need to be had. And I think, so I know what he's saying. Catch had this stat. Let me share it with y'all real quick. He put this up here. Let me share you this. It was a really interesting stat here. And let me see if I can click on here. And then let me just make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Catch put this stat up, I guess last night, to what Tracy's talking about. Percentage of games started from the portal of the 4 semifinal teams. Ole Miss has 66.3% of games started from portal guys. Indiana, 65.4. Miami at 53.6, in Oregon at 42.6, Texas at 17%. That came from Sam Kahn from The Athletic, who came up with that stat, and he follows me, by the way. I know Sam. I've known Sam for years. So to what T is asking and saying, at bookmark it, by the way, because I wanted to come to it on the show. So you've done a great job, T. Thank you so much. T, what we're seeing is an evolution in real time. Either because beforehand, you can afford to allow your players to develop because you aren't paying them. So it's easy at that point. But now that you're paying them, from a business perspective, T, I mess with you, T. You know, we family, so you know you only mess with people who you like, right? It's the people that you don't mess with that those are the people that you don't like, right? You're like, I don't f with them, right? So I'm joking with you, but what you're saying is true, and what Texas has to decide is, are we going to stay here with this old model and not get an ROI, and then get frustrated that we're not getting an ROI after 1 year or maybe 2 at the most? Or do you just say, well, we just then go after transfer portal guys? right? And do we just build a roster through that? And Sark's been kind of a guy that said, nah, I gotta build through high school. But what we're seeing is that some of these high school guys are like, nah. And so now they're at the point when you've had so much attrition that they've got no choice, that they have to go to the portal and get guys just to replace the guys who are lost. So it's a delicate balancing act. And see, I would much rather have a guy who checks the box for if the money's equal than a guy who we're just sitting here and wondering, can you live your entire existence like that? It's hard, but you may have to. And you may have to just live a world where you reward your big name dudes, and then you just may have to go in the portal and figure it out. It may be constant attrition. And by the way, if this is the world that coaches are going to live in, college coaches, I will tell you this: any coach who gets a chance to go to the NFL, these guys are going to be out. They are going to be out. I am telling you, coaches like control. I've been in this industry for 30 years. 30 years, y'all. Don't let this young face fool you. I'm in the industry for 30 years. One thing these guys want, they want control. Especially college coaches. They love to have control. And they're in a situation right now where they are not in control. And they do not like it. If guys have opportunities to say, I'm not going to deal with this, players telling me what to do, you will see guys saying, you know what, Giants are open, whatever it is, I'm out. Everybody knows. But I say these guys, this is a group of people, y'all. Understand this. It's not that long ago, y'all, when guys used to try to transfer out, coaches used to have the power to be able to say, oh, for real? Well, you can't go to the SEC, you can't go to the ACC, you can't go to the Pac-12, you got to go somewhere else, right? They was able to control it. As much as I dislike Baker Mayfield as a person and an individual and everything about him, that being said, it was totally, can you remember there was Texas Tech, he was a walk-on. And they tried to control where he can transfer to as a walk-on, paying out of his own pocket. That's how much control these guys are used to. It wasn't that long ago, y'all. You know what people don't like giving up? Money and power. People don't like giving up money and power, y'all. And these coaches are having to give up power, certain degree money. And so, in any case, you're going to trust me. You're going to see some more of that. Catch the wave, ATX. He said, "Time to buy the Ole Miss roster." I mean, why not? You can't. Here's the thing, though. Catch the wave. They were wanting to. They would have taken Kewan Lacey. They were hoping he was going to go in the portal, and he said, "I'm not going. I'm good." Why? Because for some of these guys, as I explained it to y'all this week, for somebody, I don't know, something's going on my team's channel. Did somebody commit or something? Hold on, let me look in here. Did somebody just commit? Okay. Some guy from Pitt is somebody from a linebacker from Pitt is coming in for a visit. Looks like. All right. I'll get to that in a second. Damn it, man. Where was I? I had a good point. I had a really good point. I got to turn my teams off. Hold on. Let me turn this teams off. This damn thing is just clicking. All right, where was I? I was talking about control. I was talking about something else. Damn it, I had a really good point. All right, if I remember, I'll come back to it. I forget about it. I forgot. All right, well, we can talk positives. What does it say? Like, other than that, how's the play, Mrs. Lincoln? Texas did get a commit through the portal, though. So Texas did get the running back out of Arizona State through the portal. They did get him his official commitment, and I've heard nothing but good things about him. Great things about him, actually. Uh, he's described to me as if there's a thunder and lightning combo, he's more. Wait, Sammy said, I think you're trying to make the point that they're going to do whatever they can to change the rules so they're getting the show. Yes, what I was talking about that. And so what they yes, I was using the Baker Mayfield example as a group of people who love control. Yeah. I forgot. By the way, I can't stand Baker Mayfield, but that's because he wanted to fight me one time. But I'll tell that story when he's not in the league. But he had to have people like hold him back. So anyway, which I never moved. I never flinched. I'm like, please hit me. Hit me, please. I'll be rich. I'm gonna take some money from you. Please hit me. What I'm saying is, and I'll get back to Brown in a second. This group of people loves control. And so they're living in a world right now where they're not happy because they don't have control, and all these guys have representatives / agents, and I don't care if it's Mulugeta or if it's cousin Noop Noop, Ray, Pookie, they might be the rep as well. It don't matter. All they know is that they got people who rock with them, who care for them, and who are trying to negotiate on their behalf, right? And so this group, I can tell you, is not happy. They're not happy. They'll go to the NFL whenever given the opportunity. And then other than that, they're just going to have to take a lot of money and complain about it. Okay, back to Brown. They do get a running back. He was described to me as if there's a thunder and lightning combination, he is the lightning. Texas still needs the thunder. Okay, they need the thunder, but he is kind of your Jaden Blue version, Jaden Blue 2.0. There's the best way to use him as an analogy. Explosive, powerful, not a goal line back, but he's a guy in Sark's system. You will absolutely, he'll be an explosive component for Sark. Now, look, at the end of the day, whether it's Brown, whether it's Cam Coleman, oh yeah, I'll give you what I know about Cam Coleman real quick too. Yeah, man, this one of them days. You know, Fridays is one of them days. I honestly, y'all, I got nowhere to be. I just got nowhere to be. Today is a day. I'm just talking. I'm just talking. So Cam Coleman. I'm glad I said that because I'm going to talk about Cam Coleman in a second too. Brown is just a guy who he may not be your goal line back, but he's explosive. He'll be great in Sark's system. He can catch the ball. I think he's got that breakaway speed. He's got everything that you want in a dynamic running back. He's just not an every down kind of guy. He's probably a 15-touch guy. When I say 15 touches, it's been described to me, he's probably a guy that I'm talking about carrying the ball, receiving, 15 touches. You get a little bit past 15 or so, and then it may not be his wheelhouse, but overall, if you're looking for a positive, getting him out the portal, great. It's a great acquisition for Texas. If you're a Texas, well, all you guys are Texas fans. I think there's a couple of Oklahoma people in here, and I don't care. Y'all pay the bills too. Yeah, Oklahoma hired like Witten as their tight end coach or something, and then like his son is now potentially going to go there. Smart move on their behalf. He's a really good back. But my point was, whether you get Brown or you get Coleman, if you ain't got an offensive line to protect Arch can't throw balls off his ass. You still got to beef up the offensive line. So there's two things I should probably talk to y'all about. It's like a bonus round for y'all because I usually do a 30-minute show, but I don't care. So Cam Coleman, today I don't care. Cam Coleman, Texas is still waiting on him. They're still waiting. And he is a guy that they're not really interested in doing much else until Cam Coleman says yes or no. So what that means is they wait. He is the superstar. He is that guy. He is that dude, right? And so I've been told they're willing to wait. That's why this dude gave the Richardsons a bad name. I don't appreciate it. But Trey Richardson, y'all heard about the Vanderbilt receiver who was supposed to be visiting Texas? Have y'all seen any pictures from the Vanderbilt receiver who's supposed to be visiting Texas? No, you have not. Why? Because he was not visiting Texas. Here's the deal. Cam Coleman, Trey, nobody knows where this quote unquote came from that the Vanderbilt receiver is supposed to visit UT. But it came out of nowhere. And it was a surprise to the UT staff. Now, a couple of things could have happened. Could be an agent putting things out there. It could be a reporter who maybe made a mistake, right? But all I can tell you, without anybody pointing fingers or making accusations, now I do that all the time. But what the deal is, because I'm old enough where I don't care. I've lived long enough. Catch the wave. We'll close the show on that. I'll put so Texas is all chips in on Cam. They just are. They're all chips in. They're waiting on him. And whenever he wants to make his decision, he'll do it, and they'll wait. Now, from a positive standpoint, as relates to him, he's in constant contact with the staff. He's in constant contact with players on this team. So there's a hope that all is good. Now, this is what I would tell you. Back to what I just said before. Man, you can't trust anything in this NIL world, dog. You can. I don't. Things are cool, and you can say like I like certain things, and everything seems all right. But what we're seeing in real time is that, hey, money's going to talk with a lot of these guys. Now, not all of them. We've seen Texas offer guys more money, and guys ain't leaving. Some of these guys are living, somebody explained it to me, like some of these guys are living for the first time in their life. They have stability. They got stability. I'm not saying they was poor, but they've got stability. They got the condo or the apartment in the downtown area, wherever city that they live in, right? They got the nice house. They got or apartment, right? They got a nice car. They got cash for the first time, like a bunch. They ain't got to ask mom or daddy, can I get some money so I can download something on PlayStation, right? Right? They're like, I'm good. What y'all want, mama, daddy, right? And so sometimes these guys are just looking at it, and somebody said it best to me, like some of these guys ain't trying to take the flat screen off the wall. They're good. They're chilling. And so it's not as easy to pry certain guys away. Cam Coleman's different because he decided that he's going to be out here. But now, what happens? I saw a tweet from the Tex GM yesterday, basically saying like, don't count them out. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. And then, but I hear things from the Texas side when Catch talks to his people that money's not going to be a thing for Texas. Texas seems to be almost at the point when as relates to Cam Coleman that they'll be willing to match or overpay for whatever. Texas need a splash, y'all. They need a splash. They need this. They need it. So I get the feeling that Texas is all chip. When I say all chips in, like they're going to do the best that they can to get this guy. And if it means matching a ridiculous tech offer, that they'll do that just to make sure that they get him. He is him. But y'all, we've seen it all week long. But down is up is down. So we'll see how it goes. But they're waiting on Cam. And then the last thing, offensive line. Well, it ain't much to discuss. they had somebody in over the other day, but they're trying. They're trying. We've got it's got something got to happen. I don't know. Maybe the staff just need to go to church this weekend. who got a good church? Summit Worship. What is it called? What's it called? Austin Stone or something like that. What's that one downtown? I forget the name of the church. Something. Everybody, they all need to go. Something. Everybody on staff. I need everybody on staff to get baptized this weekend. I need everybody. We need to start fresh. We need to start new. I need everybody. Is this first Sunday? Can we do communion? No, was that last week? Was last week first Sunday? Can we do a second Sunday? We need second Sunday. I don't know. Something. Tithe, offering, anything. I was supposed to, I typically, if y'all are new to the show, I typically do a 30-minute show. But I decided to, I just didn't care. I got nowhere to be. So I decided to do that. Someone asked me about the belts behind me. These are actually, I played fantasy football, and my team name was the Paper Boys. And so I started winning championships, and then I just decided, instead of like getting a trophy, I just got belts. And so one day I showed up to our fantasy draft. This is like years ago. And I showed up to a fantasy draft, and I had like a belt from like Toys R Us, right? And I like a WWE belt. And I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody was like, really? You're so arrogant. And then I won again. So I was like, oh. So I will do this. So then I got the real stuff. True story though. I got a true story though cashed away. So check this out. This is a true story. But as relates to boxing, because you think it's boxing related. So this fun story, but we'll close on this. Fun story. So in my 20s, mid-20s or something like that, I'm 6'2". Most people don't think I'm as tall as I am. Like Tex Blonde met me one time, and that was like that's always everyone's response when they see me. They always think I'm shorter than what I am because I'm sitting down. But I'm a legit 6'2". But back then in my 20s, I was skinny, right? You think I'm thin now. I'm talking about I was just a toothpick back then. I was like $140 something. Yeah, I was thin as a rail. And I went to this boxing gym, and I started working in professional boxers. And I was just like, I just want to work out, get in shape, so on and so forth. So all of a sudden, I'm working out, and I'm jogging 3 miles and then doing workouts, right? And so, and what's good was cool was like I was nice with these hands. I was nice to this. I'm talking about I was nice with these hands. And so, so all of a sudden, all these trainers who are at the gym, they're looking at my height and they're looking at my weight, and they're thinking to myself, my long arms and my reach, man, you could really do some damage, and you got power. And I had more power in my right than my left. My jab was good. My right was professional power. Like that part's true. My right was okay though. My right's just enough to keep you off. My left could keep you off. My right would knock you out. So they're like, man, what do you think about maybe turning pro or something? And I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm still in my 20s. I'm working at the Tampa Tribune, so on and so forth. So now I'm working out. Pa, 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 pa. Literally, I'm killing it, right? And everyone is starting to get hyped. And then there's a promoter who's at the gym, and he's like, okay, like, yeah, we like you, so on and so forth. So then they took me down. This is a true story. And I'm like, they're like, Hearns, Tommy Hearns, Hitman, right? I'm just like, yeah, Hitman. And they're like, hey, we should do one Saturday. Why don't we take you down to watch, you should watch a sparring session. And I was like, yeah. So I woke up, it's a Saturday morning, got there around like to the gym. It was like 7:30 in the morning. They get there early and stuff. I'm there. They're like, hey, this is all right. Yep. So I get up to, I'm literally at the ring. I'm watching it. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I'm about to do something. Then I started watching sparring up close and personal. And I was like, oh, hell no. I'm like, I ain't going to let this mofo hit me like this. I was like, how? They had headgear on. I saw a dude start bleeding out his nose. And then he had like blood snot coming out his nose. And then he did this thing where he went, and then knocked it on there. I'm like, yo, I'm a germaphobe, right? So that just threw me off right there. Him doing the snot nose blood bubble. And then I'm like, this is horrible. And now I'm watching dude. I'm like, wait, so you got to get practice getting hit all the time before you get hit for real? I was like, man, y'all can keep this. I got insurance. I just started donating to my 401k at my job. I'm like, nah, this ain't for me. And what they told me was that you only get paid $100 a round. So you start off as a professional, you do 4 rounds. I would get $100 a round. And so I'm like, wait a second. But then I had to pay my trainer. I'd have to pay my promoter, and I would have to buy my own gear. I'm boxing for free. I'm like, y'all can kiss my black. You know what? I ain't doing this. I retired that day. And now, when it came to the mitts and the heavy bag, I am still nice with it. But you talking about getting in that ring for free? And you don't even get paid for like your first 8 or so fights before you can move up to a 6-rounder and then maybe an 8-rounder. And then even if you got to like a 10-rounder and you were local, you might get like $2 or $3 grand, but you would still have to pay out and you have to sell tickets. I was like, y'all can keep this. Anyway, that's my boxing story. No, I did not get stopped. No. I would tell you if I actually got, no. I would tell you, I'm the most self-deprecating person out here, yo. I would tell you, man, how many times I joke about relationships and stuff. I would tell you that I got smoked. I'm telling you, I didn't even wait for it to get to that point. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I didn't wait for it to get to that point. I was like, y'all ain't hitting me for free. Y'all ain't hitting me for free. Now, there's some people in this market I would like to box for charity. Okay, let me stop. And by the way, who said who said I was skinny? Who's that person in here? Oh no, no. But I've been called Flaco since I was a teenager. My Spanish friends have always called me Flaco, Fideo, Grueso, but Flaco has been my name for the longest times. And the skinny. Now I'm 6'2", I'm like $190 now. So, and I want to get down to like $180. I would like, so I'm $190 after the holidays. I like to be at like a 175, 180 range is where I prefer to be. So, yeah, I'm not skinny by any stretch of the imagination, but I definitely was. But that's my boxing story. That was grand opening, grand closing. they went from like hyping me up. And they were like, man, like, you got power. You're going to be great. You're going to be great. And I was like, y'all ain't fixing to hit me like that. Y'all can kiss my blankety blank. All right, y'all, I'm done. I went an hour. I don't know what the hell's happened. I don't know who the hell's jumped in the portal since then. I just know guys are making decisions, business decisions at that. Let's just keep it going. Let's see what happens. There's going to be guys who are coming in on campus this weekend. The big fish is Cam Coleman. We'll see what happens as Texas continues to wait for him. It's been fun, man. Friday's fun Friday. Last thing, you know what I say? It's Friday. Go out there. Do something special for yourself. What I say, live each day like it's your last. One day it will be, right? So go out there, do something nice for yourself, do something special for yourself. If you didn't get the gift that you wanted for the holidays, go out and buy it for yourself. If you want to go get a sandwich, a donut, go do a walk, do something special, because life, I'm telling you, like this, everything we all know, everything changes in an instant. Your life can change in an instant. So enjoy today. Make it a good day. Let's see what happens with the Longhorns. Don't y'all jump in the portal. Y'all stay here in OB. And if you stayed here this long, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Y'all do not jump in the portal. We need each other. Because hell, at this point, we may have to play for the damn team. All right, y'all have a good day.